I'm Donna Kallner, and this is Lesson 3 of the New Age Looping Basics e-course. In this lesson, you'll learn how to make an oval start. We're going to explore some other materials that can be used for looping, and I'm going to talk about why I call this New Age looping.
We'll begin this lesson with oval bases. In Lesson 2, you learn to make a round base from a slip knot start. In Lesson 3, you'll learn to make an oval base from a needle chain start. You'll see another use for needle chaining later in the class, but at this point, we'll be using a needle chain to establish a live edge in which to loop. To begin a needle chain, make a small loop near the tail of the thread. That may be a slip knot like you used in the last lesson, or it may be just a small loop. Now, I'm working this sample much larger and more loosely than you would probably want to work on your own. And I'm doing that just so you can see things more clearly in this example. Orient the thread so that the tail is at north and the working thread is at south. Insert the needle in that loop from the front and angle towards south with the needle passing under the lower part of the loop and over the working thread. Press the thumb and index finger of your non-dominant hand around the loop to help control the tension as you draw the thread through to complete a link in the chain. Leave the link large enough to insert the needle when you need to make the next link in the chain. Treat the lower part of a link as a lag. Insert the needle in the last link made, passing under the lower part of the link and over the working thread. Repeat that motion to continue adding links to this chain. Now this feels a lot like looping with just a different orientation, but there is an important difference that you should notice. If you make a U-turn with the thread and pass it back the way you came through the last link, then pull on it, surprise! This kind of chaining can unravel. Nevertheless, chaining is an easy way to establish a live edge in which to loop, and looping, as we know, won't unravel. So here's how we can keep that chain from pulling out. When the chain is the length you want, make one more stitch and pull that tight into a little knot. At this point, you can reorient the chain and use the links as a live edge to begin looping. If you're right-handed, you'd loop from left to right. If you're left-handed, you would stitch from right to left. Trap the tail of the thread as you stitch along the long edge. When you reach the last link in the chain, you can snip off that tail . To transform this needle chain into an oval base, you'll work increases at the ends of the chain. Notice how I've rotated the piece. After I work my increases in the end, I'm going to reorient the piece once again, rotating it so that I can continue stitching in my usual direction as I work across the opposite side of that needle chain, working along the long edge. Once I reach the other short end, I'll make more increases. Keep rotating the piece and working increases at the ends. Once you have a nice flat oval the size you want, you can reorient the way you hold the work and start building the walls of the piece up from that nice oval base. In this example, I have a mold, once again, that I'm going to stitch over. And just like you saw in the last lesson, trying to hold this base on a mold is a little like wrestling snakes for a little while. Things are not real secure, not nearly as secure as they would have been with a wrapped base cord. But by working from the base to the rim, that gives you a rim with greater elasticity than you got in the wrapped base cord in lesson 1. In video 4 in this lesson, you'll see 3 different projects that are built from an oval base. One of them is worked over a mold that requires some shaping, as we did in lesson 2. The other 2 are worked without a mold. Before you go to the projects video, work a sample of the oval base using the materials that you used in lesson 1 and lesson 2. Videos 2 and 3 in this lesson introduce other materials that you might choose to use for a project for this lesson. So you may want to watch those and learn some different ways to add thread before you start thinking about how you're going to apply the oval base in a project for lesson 3. So I'll meet you in the next video and we will talk about an ancient idea with some modern applications and threads that you can use for looping. I'll see you there.